Good morning, students. In the previous section, we were discussing regarding the solar energy applications. In that, we have discussed the solar cooker, different type of solar cookers, the principle behind working, and then we have seen solar furnaces. So, in today's lecture, we will discuss regarding the solar air heaters, and then we will discuss regarding the solar water heating system, and then we will discuss some of the other applications like the solar space cooling, solar air heating, solar dryers, that is crop drying, and then we will discuss the solar thermal electric conversion system, so that is Breton heat engine. So we'll start with solar air heater. A solar air heater is an active system as opposed to a passive system. Passive solar systems rely on the heat absorbing structure materials and building orientation that takes advantage uh, of southern exposure. The active solar systems use solar panels to collect solar energy and fans to move the energy to a different place. So, the solar air heater has an important place among solar heat collectors. It can be used as a subsystems in many systems meant for the utilization of solar energy. So, then it is intended to supplement your existing heating system, not replace it. The most efficient way to utilize a solar air heater is to install it where it can blow or diffuse warm air directly into a room that sees a lot of daytime use. So, drawing on the principle that warm air rises and cool air sinks, the solar air heater pulls cooled air from the bottom of a room, circulates it through a solar collector where it picks up heat, then blows the warmed air back into the room. So, the possible applications of solar air heater are the drying or curing of agricultural products, space heating for comfort, then regeneration of dehumidifying agents, seasoning of timber, curing of industrial products such as plastics. So, numerous variations in the design of collectors for heating air by solar energy. So, air can be passed in contact with a black solar absorbing surface such as finned plates or ducts as mentioned in the previous section. So, we will see this is the particular solar air heater side view and the front view. So, here the air can be passed in contact with the black solar absorbing surface, so such as finned plate or ducts can say. Then the several layers of metal screening and overlapped glass plates will be there. So, flow may be straight through serpentine above or below or on both the sides of the absorber plate or through the porous absorber material. So, mainly uh, the air heaters are classified in the following categories. One is the first type, that is non porous absorber, in which air stream does not flow through the absorber plate. So, air may flow above and behind the absorber plate. Second type is the porous absorber, that includes slit and expanded metal, transferred honeycomb and overlapped glass plate absorber. So, we can see that particular here in the particular the active solar water heating system. So, we will see, yes, here. So, the conventional solar air heater is essentially a flat plate collector with the absorber plate. So, in this we can see, so it is flat plate collector, the absorber plate. the transparent cover system at the top and insulation at the bottom, and on the sides the whole assembly is encased in a sheet metal container. The working fluid is air. Through the passage for its flow varies according to the type of aerator. So, the material for construction of air heaters are similar to those of liquid flat plate collectors, what we discussed in the previous. The transmission of solar radiation through the cover system and its subsequent absorption in the absorber plate can be given by expressions identical to that of liquid flat plate collectors. Then the selective coating on the absorber plate can be used to improve the collection efficiency, but cost effectiveness criteria should be kept in mind. So, here we will discuss the two types of the solar air heaters. So, the one is non porous type air heater. So, in the non porous type air heater, uh, a non porous absorber may be cooled by the air stream flowing over both the sides of the plate. So, then in most common design, the air flows behind the absorbing surface. Air flow above the upper surface increases the convection losses from the cover plate, and therefore is not recommended if the air inlet temperature rises at the collector are large. So, the transmission of the solar radiation in case of non porous type solar heater through the transparent cover system and its absorption is identical to that of a liquid type flat plate collector. So, we can see this particular figure that solar, that is non porous type air heater. So, here you can see particular diagram. So, it is the particular cover, we can say this is side A. So, this is particular absorber, we can say this as absorber. So, then it is an insulation provided, this is the insulation. So, here mainly there are two sections. So, here in this case the transmission of the solar radiation through the transparent cover system and its absorption is identical to that of a liquid type flat plate collector. To improve collection efficiency, selective coating may be applied provided there is no much cost. Due to low heat transfer rates, efficiencies are lower than liquid solar heaters under the same radiation intensity and temperature conditions. So, the performance of air heater is improved by first is roughening the rear of the plate to promote turbulence and improve the convective heat transfer coefficient, or adding fins to increase the heat transfer surface. Usually turbulence is also increased, which enhances the convective heat transfer. So, absorption of solar radiation is improved due to surface radioactive characteristics and the geometry of corrugations, which help in trapping the reflected radiation. So, next we will see the porous type solar air heater. So we can say collector with a porous absorbers. So let us see this particular porous type aerator. So here we can say, just we can, this is the porous what we can draw here. So there will be an matrix. This is the matrix. Again there will be insulation. So the overall diagram will be like this. So here the radiations, they are passing here. So this is the glass. So the air out, there will be air flows outside. So this is again the insulation part. This part is the insulation, and this is the black surface. So this is the porous type solar aerator. So the main drawback of the non-porous absorber plate is the necessity of absorbing all incoming radiation over the projected area from a thin layer over the surface, which is in the order of a few microns. Unless selective coatings are used, radioactive losses from the absorber plate are excessive. Therefore, the collection efficiency cannot be improved. The pressure drop along the duct formed between the absorber plate and the rear insulation may also be prohibitive, especially in the case of added fins to increase the heat transfer surface and turbulence rate. So the difficulty with the turbulence is the pressure drop across the collector. Too many surfaces and too much restriction to airflow will require large fan and a large amount of energy to push the air through. The energy required for this cancels out the saving from using solar energy, particularly if fan is electrical and is the amount of energy which is burnt at the power plant to produce the electrical energy is included. So these defects are eliminated in a porous absorber type collector in two ways. So the first is the solar radiation penetrates to greater depth and is absorbed gradually depending on the matrix density. The cool air stream introduced from the upper surface of the matrix is first heated by the upper layers, which are cooler than the bottom layers. The air stream warm up while traversing the matrix layers. The lower matrix layer are hotter than the upper ones. Therefore, the air stream can effectively transfer the best from the matrix. So the second is the pressure drop for the matrix is usually lower than the non-porous absorber with a flow behind the plate, since flow per unit cross section would be much lower. So although the matrix hinders the flow, the pressure drops reported for porous matrix absorbers are still lower than for the non-porous absorbers. So the solar air heating utilizing a transpired honeycomb is also very favorable from the pressure drop standpoint since the flow cross section is much larger. So, this is about the non-porous type solar air heater and the porous type solar air heater. So, now we will see the solar air heater advantages. The need to transfer heat from working fluids to another fluid is eliminated as air is being used directly as the working substance. The system is compact and less complicated. The corrosion is a great problem in solar water heater and this problem is not experienced in solar air heaters. The leakage of air from the duct does not create any problem. Freezing of working fluid virtually does not exist. The pressure inside the collector does not become very high. Thus, air heater can be designed using cheaper as well as lesser amount of material and is simpler to use than the solar water heaters. There are some of the disadvantages. The air heaters have certain disadvantages. Also, the first and foremost is the poor heat transfer properties of air. As we are using air, so it has a poor heat transfer property. Special care is required to improve the heat transfer. Another disadvantage is the need for handling large volume of air due to its low density. Then air cannot be used as a storage fluid because of its low thermal capacity. Then in the absence of proper design, the cost of solar air heater can be very high. So, we will see some of the applications. So, in the heating buildings can use this particular solar air heater. Then drying agricultural produce and lumber, heating greenhouses, then air conditioning buildings utilizing desiccant beds or a absorption refrigeration process, then using air heaters as the heat sources for a heat engine such as Brayton or Stirling cycle. So, these are the some of the applications of solar air heaters. So, next we will see the solar water heating system. So, this is again one more important application of the solar energy. So, solar water heating or we can say the hot water supply system. So, in this case, the basic elements of a solar water heater are a flat plate collector and the storage tank and the circulation system. Fourth is the control of the system. Here, so we will see the two types of solar water heating. So, it is the conversion of sunlight into heat for water heating using the solar thermal collector. A variety of configuration is available at varying cost to provide solutions in different climates and latitudes. Solar water heatings are widely used for residential and some industrial applications. A sun facing collector heats a working fluid that passes into a storage system for later use. Then this solar water heating are active pumped and passive convection driven. They use water only or both water and a working fluid. They are heated directly or via light concentrating mirror. They operate independently or as hybrids with electric or gas heaters. So, in large scale installations, mirrors may concentrate sunlight into a smaller collector. So, there are main two types of solar water heating system. As I told you, active, which uses a pump to circulate the water between the tank and the collector, and passive, which relies on natural convection to circulate the water. So here before going to that types, again the use of solar energy for heating water in many respects quite similar to its use for heating buildings. The again the simplest type of solar water heater is the thermosiphon system. Some typical and commercial design of solar water heaters are: one is a natural circulation solar water heater, then we can say that as a pressurized. Second is natural circulation solar water heater, that is non pressurized, and the third is forced circulation solar water heater. So we will see the active and the passive solar water heating system. So here you can see the active solar water heating system, and this is the passive solar water heating system. So we will see the particular active solar water heating system. So most of the hundreds of solar heated residences built through the world use the active systems, in which separate collectors are used to gather the solar radiation, transfer it to water or air. So you can see here the collector panels will be provided, then circulating pump, as I told you, it is active, so the circulating pump will be there. Then thermostat control, again I told you, so the controlling technique should be needed, so thermostat control will be there. Then the storage tank with electric or gas backup. So here whatever the active system or the active heating system is there, so it is whatever the in which separate collectors will be there along with the solar radiation, and here the water and the air are circulated by pump or the fans, and conventional means are used to distribute the heat to the interior of the residences. So the general principle is nearly all existing or proposed active solar heating systems solar hot water supply systems utilize three main components in addition to the pumps and the blowers. One is the solar radiation collector with its associated heat transfer fluid. Second, the heat storage medium, and the third is the distribution system. The same arrangement of components can also be used to provide hot water for domestic and related use, and with the addition of other components. So in the collector, the solar radiation is collected and converted into heat. The heat transport fluid removes the heat and carries it to the heat storage system. The heat can then be withdrawn from the storage and distributed throughout the building. So in this particular active solar water heating, they either direct circulation or indirect circulation. Direct circulation systems circulate domestic water through the collector and to the storage tank. So these are the best suited for mild climates where temperatures seldom drop below freezing. So indirect circulation systems circulate a non-freezing heat transfer fluid through the collector and then through the heat exchanger in the storage tank. So these are preferred in cold climates where the pipes in a direct circulation system might freeze. So the second type is the passive solar water heating system. So we can use some of the conventional methods in order to circulate the particular fluid. So here there will be a solar radiation collector panel will be there, then whatever the water is there, it is circulated. So this passive systems are usually less expensive. These passive systems are usually less expensive but less efficient. They can be either integral collector storage systems or thermosiphon systems. So, the integral collector storage type is typically used to preheat water for a conventional water heater and is best suited to climates where temperatures seldom fall below freezing. The thermosiphon systems rely on the natural. So, this is about uh, solar water heating. So, next we will see the solar space cooling. Again, whatever the solar space cooling is there, it is also an best example or application of solar energy. So, in the particular space cooling, uh, the major current interest it is in mechanical cooling or air conditioning system. So, that depend on solar heat for their operation and are unaffected by atmospheric humidity. The two most common refrigeration techniques are vapor compression and absorption, and in principle both could be adopted for use with solar energy, although the temperature required are higher than those adequate for space heating. So, in the former procedure, solar heated water could vaporize propane or ammonia at a moderate pressure. The vapor could then drive a turbine which would in turn operate a vapor compression cooling unit. Such a low pressure vapor turbine, however, would inevitably have a very low efficiency. So, again I told you the absorption air conditioning, we can say this is the one type of this particular space cooling or uh, solar cooling of the buildings. And the second is uh, the lithium Br H2O system. So, these about the solar space cooling. So, next we will see the solar dryers. Again, this is also an important application of the solar energy. So, this solar dryers we are using in as I told you many applications. So, then the solar ponds. So, this solar pond, so this is uh, an example in case of the thermal electric conversion systems. So, this is again in the solar thermal power production system, the energy is first collected by using a solar pond, a flat plant collector or a focusing collector. This energy is used to increase the internal energy or the temperature of a fluid. This fluid may be directly using in any of the common or known cycles such as Rankine, Brayton or Stirling, or passes through a heat exchanger to heat a secondary fluid, which is being used in the cycle to produce mechanical power from which electrical power can be produced easily. There are following four systems. One is the low temperature cycle using flat plate collector or solar pond. Then second is concentrating collector for medium and high temperature. Third, power tower concept or central receiver system. Fourth is distributed collector systems. So, this solar pond is well explained in the low temperature cycles using flat plate collector. So, this is again an application in case of solar thermal electric conversion. So, what is solar thermal electric conversion? The conversion of solar energy into electricity by way of thermal or heat energy is called as solar thermal electric conversion. Here heat can be converted directly into electrical energy by solar cell or thermionic or thermoelectric methods, but these techniques may not be suitable for use with the sun generated heat. The most practical thermal electric procedures for solar energy is to utilize the energy to heat a working fluid. Example, a gas, water or other volatile liquid. The heat energy is then converted into mechanical energy in a turbine and finally into electrical energy by means of a conventional generator coupled to the turbine. So, this mechanical power production system is called solar thermal power production system. So, in that we will see the different type of systems. As I told you, there are 4 systems. So, this we will explain in the next lecture. So, thank you.